happy, jolly spirit. And that's something that all of us could emanate by having a joyful spirit in ourselves as individuals. And when we express that, we warm up to people more, and we become better people, and we interact better, and we give people an opportunity to love us more. We're going to miss them quite a bit. Thank you.
Commissioner from the 10th, you're the newest one here, and I know you had just a few moments with him.
I didn't have the opportunity to serve with Andrew Jefferson, but I did have the opportunity to know him for 2.5 years. And in that short 2.5 years, I learned a lot from Andrew. He was a quiet man most of the time, but when he said something, people listened because it made sense with what he said. And Andrew was a teacher. He taught me. And one thing that I would like to leave Andrew is, since he was an electrician, he taught electrician, and oftentimes he was a beacon of light in a world of darkness. And I would like to leave him this new LED light. We'll miss you, Andrew. Thank you.
To recognize the commissioner from the 1st.
To the Jefferson family, I had an opportunity to be with Andrew and his son on Saturday before he passed. And I got there kind of early, and when Andrew came, he asked me why I was there early. I said, well, in case your son needs any help with the hamburgers and the hot dogs, I'll be able to give him a few pointers. And he assured me that he didn't need any pointers on hamburgers and hot dogs. Since Andrew has been on this commission, he and I did not always agree. And even though we disagree, excuse me, 1 second.
Right.
And even though we disagreed, when we walked out those doors, we were still friends. Andrew is what I like to refer to as a true leader. And quoting Martin Luther King, he said that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. The true neighbor will risk his position, his prestige, and even his life for the welfare of others. Martin goes on to say, if a man is called a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. Andrew was an electrician. He took pride in what he did. So, what I have here, about 2 years ago, I was able to go to the museum, in the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. And they had some quotes for Martin Luther King. And I picked this one up. It has his I Have a Dream speech. So, to the Jefferson family, when you're feeling down, depressed, I want you to pick this up and read it, and read the dream, because the dream lives on.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To Andrew's family, I just, when I think of Andrew, I think of a gentle, kind, level-headed, professional person who, when you meet him and when we're around him, he made you feel good. He might have been having a bad day, but you never, ever heard that. At least I never did. I never heard him complain about anything. He was always concerned about you. Working with him the past couple of years, it was just a pleasure. We would talk through issues, even if we didn't agree, and you've heard that from a few other commissioners. It was okay. We would just talk through it. He's like, explain to me what you're feeling, and I'll explain to you what I'm feeling. And if you didn't agree, he was totally fine with that. Always still smiling. Just an instant friend. And, in the back of the chamber here, when we're taking personal calls, he would always have to take calls for his work. And I would hear him talking to his employees or to his customers. And he was always just handling issues, even though we were dealing with a lot up here. He would able to change gears, and you would just hear that same kind of respect, even though it might have been a stressful work situation. He just always held his cool and worked through it. And that was just something that will always stick with me about Andrew. I think at the end of your life, it just all comes down to how you treat others. And in that respect, he gets an A+. And so I'm just grateful that I've been able to know Andrew.
Madam Administrator, church member, friend.
I'm going to need some help to do my presentation. First, I would like to invite the men of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity to join me. This is Jeffrey Alls from our law department and Stephen Kendrick, our tax commissioner. They are Mr. Jefferson's frat brothers. So I asked for their assistance, and for what they are about to unveil, I needed a lot of assistance because I am not the creative force in my office. Ms. Jessica Wooliford is. Unfortunately, she's on vacation, so she doesn't see the unveiling, but she pulled this together at my request. We tried to put something together that explains who he is. First thing I have to say about Commissioner Jefferson was that he loved what he loved and he believed in what he believed in. My tribute today focuses on those things that he believed in. First, Atlanta Braves, season ticket holder, will go up anytime he has the opportunity to do that. Second, the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think anybody up here will forget when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. He came in, he had every piece of paraphernalia possible that he spread out on the desk in front of him. Next, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. From Q-Dogs to Omega Men to the Sons of Blood and Thunder. He represented that fraternity every day of his life. And the neat little thing about that some may not be aware of is that my sorority is an informal sister-brother relationship with the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, so we had that to connect us. Finally, one of the biggest things we had to connect us was the Good Shepherd Baptist Church. You see at the very top, it says going from good to great through community involvement. That is our theme for 2018 at Good Shepherd. And Commissioner Jefferson lived that every day of his life. Finally, what we represent here is the Lake Olmsted Amphitheater that has been referenced already. He came to me one day, you know, we would call every now and then if he had special things he needed to talk about. He called me one night and he talked about a few things, and at the end of the conversation says, one more thing I need your help with. I said, well, what's that? Sure, he said, I need you to help me get an amphitheater at Lake Olmsted. So unfortunately, he will not be around to see that when it comes to fruition, but I wanted to give you a picture of what that would look like with him in it. So thank you very, very much, your family, for sharing him with us. We love working with him. We know that you loved him, and hopefully you'll keep this as a token of everything that he meant to us. Thank you very much.
So the only question I've got right now is the two men that will make us say fight. Are they gonna step for him? Are they gonna step? I see. All right, Chair recognizes the Dean of the Commission. Question for the night.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City and Andrew family our hearts and maybe heavy now, but God is still in control. Andrew have done something that we all have to do. I've been knowing Andrew off and on for quite a long time in this community. When he got elected here, I put him as the chairman of the subcommittee for the PPM, Policy and Procedure Manual. But Andrew was a man's man. Andrew had his own thoughts, his own way of doing things, and that makes him unique like all of us. I enjoyed the time that we worked together. We talked quite a bit, different occasions, about different things, about the city. He's always been serving in some capacity. Y'all know there wasn't anybody that he worked. He was on the school board serving. He's been in the teaching field for a long time. But I think we just need to take those examples that he did. Some people are not giving people. Andrew was a giving person. He was always willing to do what he could, when he could. He was a man's man, but he was also the type of person that you couldn't run over now. Don't let that smile fool you. He could stand his ground when he had to. And I remember a lot of me, Mr. Mayor, Andrew would be talking, and he did like I do a lot of times. He talked with his hands. He would express himself. He's trying to get you to understand what he's really saying. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think that's great. Andrew never talked to me about sports, though. He never talked to me about the Falcons. He never talked to me about the Braves and none of that, because he know I didn't know how many men on the team. I don't know nothing about it. I'm not ashamed of that. I've been on this Augusta National golf course, but I never seen a ball go in the hole. I mean, if I hit a ball that far, I ain't going looking for it. I'm through with it. But I just thank God for people who have the insight to enjoy sports and know, and do that. Andrew was a true little sportsman. He talked about the trips that he took on occasion. He talked about, I heard him talking to Sean about season tickets and stuff. And man, you buy a season ticket in the weather bed, well, I don't know if I can do that. But just tell you how committed he was to what he believed and what he did. So and I thank God for him. But I said earlier, we all got to go that way. I mean, God made that decision when we do that. We don't ever enjoy that when that happens, but that's going to happen to all of us. That's why Andrew worked while it was day. The Bible tells us that when night comes, no man can work. I mean, you got to do what you can while you can. People say, I'll get it right later, but you know better, you ought to do better. I did find something I want to leave with him, and this one of the old Atlanta Braves shirt. I don't want to leave it on his desk. I got this straight, and I don't know when, and I was somewhere, I'm always doing something, but because other guys be talking about football and sports, I want to have something, so if they say, go get you. I don't want to be left out, y'all know what I'm saying? But to the family, God's going to take care of you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Learn from the good things that Andrew did, and just keep your head up. We're going to see him again. Maybe not on this side, but we'll see him.
Sarah recognizes the diaper dandy. The gentleman from the 7th who probably was as staunch and ardent a Falcons fan as the commissioner from
Yes, I will. Rise up. I've had the privilege of knowing Mr. Jefferson for, I guess, 4 years now. And before I even knew him, I knew of him. All that he had done for Augusta Tech, all the civic groups he had been a part of, true public servant. Mr. Andrew Jefferson is something, we need more Andrew Jeffersons in Augusta, that's for sure. I had the privilege of co-leading with him the smoking ordinance that we're about to talk about. It was probably the biggest thing we worked on together as colleagues, and he and I had some disagreements, but we agreed a lot on things when up here, and I'm truly missing. But most of ours was all about sports. It was about the Braves and the Falcons. Every Tuesday, right down there, we talked about it. We were the Monday morning quarterbacks. I think we were waiting on Coach Quinn to call us up to come coach the team because we knew what was wrong with them. We could have won that game. The Super Bowl was talked about. Man, we didn't get over the Super Bowl for months up here. That was tough to lose. You know, we have the Cowboys fan to my right here, and that was a crushing loss this weekend. He's over there smiling. He sees it. But I tell you, he loved the Braves, and we were so proud of how the Braves did this year. Nobody expected us to even make the playoffs, but he and I, you know, I don't have many colleagues up here to talk sports with, and I just grew up all around sports and everything, and I'm going to miss that, Commissioner Jefferson. And to the family, are my thoughts and prayers as you go through this. And to Commissioner Jefferson, I'll miss you, and our last words I'll leave with you was, rise up, my friend, rise up.
Thank you, sir. To Miss Pat and the Jefferson family, my greatest condolences. I've known Andrew probably over 20 years, and we would come in and out, see each other doing neighborhood things, neighborhood business and stuff like that. I also was members of the Neighborhood Alliance together, and also I served on his campaign one time. So we had a lot of connection. I remember that thing was that brown blue truck he used to have. I can't remember exactly what color it was, but it was kind of might have been a Ford or Chevy or something. But I remember that from a long time ago. He used to be over in the neighborhood talking and doing things. But also we had a mutual commitment to our community. And one of the things that I treasure for life, but I brought it today. I'm gonna give it up. When we, as a neighborhood association, engaged on a very, very unique project to basically do a building addition for the city, we needed contractors. And we needed contractors to help us for nothing, really. And so when we approached Andrew about that, he became our electrician of record. And this memento that I treasured from that day forward was when on the AA&J electrical company, he got our permit. And that was in July of 2008. And we got the final inspection in, I think that's April of 2010. And this was something that was very, very close to my heart, but I'm gonna give it to you.
time with him than probably most of us on this diet.
Thank you. There's a void here. Probably the hardest when Bill Fenoy reached out to me on that Sunday. You know, I really thought Commissioner Fenoy was upset, crying. I knew something was wrong, but I would never guess in 100 years it'd be Mr. Jefferson. You know, everybody behind this dais, we hear not on our own accord, it's on the accord of us having the blessings from our family, our spouses. I would never got anywhere near to see if I didn't have the blessing of my wife or my family. People don't realize what all goes on. I think John just got a taste of it over these past couple weeks. One thing I've always admired about Andrew Jefferson, you could call him anytime, he'll answer, or he'll call you. He always hung up the phone with me, had to get off quick because I'm long-winded. I'll be talking something financial with this government. He said, "Wait, I gotta go." I said, "All right, Andrew." But a lot of people didn't see what went on between these two chairs. He kept me calm. A lot of discussion up here behind the dais. You know, it gets heated. Y'all on the seeing end, but we on the recipient end. And I'll go, "Andrew, that ain't the truth. I'm going to," and he'll use that deep voice, "Wayne, let it alone. Leave it alone." I said, "No, it's wrong." He said, "Let it lie there. It ain't worth it." He's always done that. But I wanted to say, Ms. Jefferson, children, thank you for sharing what they call a true public servant. I went to the celebration of Andrew Jefferson on that Saturday. That man had touched so many lives without boundaries, had so many friends that didn't matter. Even in my district, which is further south, so many people speak highly of Andrew. I couldn't find anybody talk negative about Andrew Jefferson, which says a lot about a gentleman. But I do want to say to the family, thank you for sharing him with us. Thank you for sharing him with the city of Augusta. Because these past couple years serving with Andrew Jefferson has been a blessing for me. He's been my calm. And I want to say thank you personally, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, to the family, thank you all for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts and our hearts with you. We want to give an opportunity to hear from Andrew's mom and Miss Pat as well. Okay, outstanding. I knew you'd have the courage to do it. I'm going to share just a couple of thoughts. I have known Andrew Jefferson many years before I ever even got involved in politics. I've known him as someone in the community at Augusta Technical College. My wife worked with him, and they were fast friends. She talked much about Andrew during her time at Augusta Technical College and how he was very helpful to her as she came to the school. And I've known his family for as long through one thing or another. When I got that call from Bridget, I didn't know what to say or what to do other than just sit in my chair and just kind of cry and reflect on the relationship that we had. Yes, we were on opposite sides when it came to football, and that's what it's all about. And we did win on Saturday, Tammy. And so you and I were at the same place with him when it came to football and raises. But we did all of that at fun. The Andrew Jefferson that I remember, that I will be reminded of and reflecting on all the days of my life, not just today, is an Andrew Jefferson who was a family man first. We're only saying things about him because we got the overflow of who he was at home, with his wife, with his children, with his siblings, with his mother. We got the overflow of that. And I'm reminded of these words, and I'll close with this, and then we'll ask Miss Jefferson to come up with Andrew's mom, that a real man smiles in trouble. He gathers strength from distress, and he grows brave by reflection. Commissioner Jefferson, he certainly was not a timid man, but he spent the first year on this body listening, reflecting. And that bravery to stand up and say something was evident. I remember in February of this year, he pulled me to the side and said, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to say something now. I'm not going to sit over there and just listen, but it's time for me to say something. And it was through that time of reflection over that first year of seeing how this worked, because it's much different than the school board. But I'm also reminded that a creative man is motivated by the desire to achieve and not by the desire to beat others. That's Andrew Jefferson. He wasn't interested in beating anybody. He was interested in how can we work together and get something done. That's why he picked up the phone and called you, Ms. Jackson, called everybody on this dais and said, I need your help. I need your help. And I close with this, and it's a interesting quote, but I believe it's appropriate. And it says that it is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. I thank God that I've known this family and Andrew Jefferson as long as I've been here in the city of Augusta, Georgia. My life has been made better, my family's life, and without question, this city and her children have been made better because of Andrew Jefferson. Thank you for sharing with us. Ms. Pat.
I know most of you don't know me, and you did have a second part on that part. First of all, I want to thank the mayor, the commission, and the city for your expressions of sympathy, condolences, and support that we felt these past few days. I just want to add that I really can't add anything to Andrew's service because his service was shown in everything that he did, every day that he walked, every day that he talked. His service to God, his service to our family, his service to the city, his service to his friends. It was shown. You really can't add anything to it or take anything away from that. I will miss that. I did ask Andrew once, and I really didn't realize the question I was asking. I said, Andrew, do you know everybody? And that has been proved that he knew everyone, and everyone with him had a relationship. Whether it was short, long, or however, with everyone, and it was a good relationship. And sometimes I want to say something that makes me feel better, and this will make me feel better, and hopefully it'll make you feel better too. I just wanted you all to know that Andrew gave a lot to you all. He gave a lot to this city. He gave a lot to his community and to his family. But I can guarantee you that what he gave to you is nothing compared to what you gave him. And I hope that will make us all feel better. Thank you.
Protocol has already been established, but to the Honorable Mayor and his peer commissioners, I just like to just extend that it started from his generosity, his well-mannered, and his loving people. That started from a long time ago, and he wore many a hats. I mean, I was sort of surprised myself at his homegoing celebration. Well, I would hear every time you all come on, I'd go rush to the television, turn it on, see if my baby was what he's gonna say. And later, he called me that night, we discussed what he could discuss. And it was just one thing he was really had his heart in, didn't go that way. And I was sort of hurt over that too. But we'll leave that one alone. But anyway, I just want you all to know, you all couldn't have known a better person. And everything was so positive. I have not heard anybody say anything negative about him. Because I mean, he's not perfect. He wasn't perfect. But he was so close to it. And in other words, I taught him a long time ago to learn to agree, to disagree. And that go a long ways. And with that, I appreciate all of you. And to his friends, I mean, you know, you all was a joy in his life, and he just enjoyed it. And I used to ask him, I said, well, baby, aren't you tired? He just go, he never stopped. But anyway, and to my family, the Jeffersons, I appreciate all of them. And my two grandsons, they just have taken, well, they can't take his place, but it's so close to it. And as Travis, the youngest one, said in the homegoing, he talked to his dad. He said, Dad, don't worry about it. I got Mama and Grandma. He said they'd be taken care of. And he also, I'm holding to it, save that turkey leg for him. And with that, I'm going to leave you all. Thank you.